Welcome to Callie's in the Kitchen. You might be saying to yourself, what on earth is this? Well, I am going to attempt again a free-form vase, which I've done before. And there are many YouTube channels out there that do it. And that's where I learned from. Pouring Your Heart Out has one as well. And this particular video is dedicated to Stacy, who helped me figure out purchasing a new tripod that has a ring light. So I'm really excited, and it has a remote control too. How exciting. All right, so on this is a MDF board that I usually use to pour my resin, put my mold and put my resin. This piece is comes from Amazon, and it's a window reflection screen thingamajig. You can order it online and it comes in a roll. There's a holographic shiny side and then a dull side. You place the plastic sheet with the holographic on the upside facing you. What I've done is also I've used resin tape, and I've taped it around the edge here to catch any overflow, because I'm just going to be pouring resin that I've mixed up onto this base here. Next, I'm going to take some crushed glass and some crystals that have sort of a holographic, for lack of a better word, and I'm going to place it on the edge to create sort of a dam, and that's going to be the edge of my base. So let me let me put my crystals on first, mix up my resin, and we'll go to the next step. First time using the remote control. Okay, so I've created a dam with the crushed glass and some of those beads. I've mixed my resin and I've let it sit for a while because I want it a little on the thicker side. And today I used the Mastercast 1-to-1 ratio. It's my thickest resin that I have for these sort of projects. And then I always have the extra crushed glass on the side in case it starts seeping on the outside, then I can block it. So here I go. I hope I've made enough resin. So for this size, I did 14 ounces. So I'm just going to let that spread out a bit. I don't need a thick layer of resin, just enough to sort of have a little thin little layer. I'll let it seep through. I'll just let it slowly spread, which is a good sign that it's slowly spreading. It means I waited long enough for my resin. Now, some of those beads have sort of come into the resin part, but I'm leaving that alone. With my extra resin, I'm actually going to pour into a cup and use some Let's Resin mixed glitter opal and put it into this very old druzy mold that I have. It's a tray mold, so that'll be interesting. I'll put it right over there so it doesn't distract from what we're doing. So, because it looks like I'm going to have some extra resin, I'm just going to pour a little bit more just to help it on this edge here. Alrighty, so I'm going to wait for that to spread out a little bit more onto my sides. You can fast forward should you like. while that sort of, I just want it to settle in. I want to make sure it gets to the edge but not overflow, so I'm just going to just double check that it's not coming out on the edges here, which is good. My resin's getting really warm, so I'm just going to put another coat so that the resin seeps under my glitter as well, so that I can have that glitter edge to my mold. I mean, to my vase, sorry. And that's all I'm going to place for now. I'm just draining the rest of my resin into my extra cup. And since I don't have a silicone mold, I'm going to use my big torch. Okay, then comes the fun part. So I'm using today alcohol pearl inks, different colors, and some Let's Resin alcohol ink, and I'm also going to drop in, for giggles, this Marabou rainbow. So all I do is I'm going to start with green in the center, and there's no sort of rhyme or reason or pattern, it's just whatever you'd like, because I'm going to be swirling it later on. So maybe green, and then do the purple pearl. And as you can see, my shape is square, but you can do round, you can do whatever shape you'd like. There's no right or wrong on this technique. It's just whatever grabs your fancy. Boy, I always get lopsided. It's so funny. I'll put yellow. Now I hope this Marabou one comes out. Sometimes it's tough because that little ball, oopsie, whoopsie, that one was all. I love this little sort of sparkle that this Marabou ink does. I hope you can see it. See, this is that ball getting stuck in there. It's really difficult sometimes. Not coming out. Come on, stinker. Might have to get a needle and poke it. Not that I see it much different, so. Okay, now since that is so light, the purple, I'm going to put some more green actually. That green sort of disappeared on me. And you can do this as light, as dark as you'd like. There's no right or wrong. Okay, now I'm going to take my little silicone tool. Let me switch off this other overhead light. Sorry about that. Turn on my nifty tripod light. So then I'm just going to swirl it. Oh yeah, I can feel my resin being really thick. It's just whatever you'd like of a pattern. You can do it random, you can do a specific, whatever you'd like. So you see some of that marabou sort of spreading out, although you're not going to quite see it very much. So I may have picked really light colors, well, she'll see. So that is really basically it on this part. And I know I abbreviated and didn't tape some of the sections only because this is a very long process. And what I'm going to do is I see bubbles, so I'm going to wait for my alcoholing to settle first, and then I will torch again. Let me see if I can squeeze a little bit more of that. You little stubborn thing. Don't know if it's going to make any difference or not, but just haven't used it in a while, so that's probably why. So I'm waiting, and as I'm waiting, I'm just making sure that my resin hasn't flown outside of my crystals. So you can fast forward, hang in there, wait till the next segment. So I'm just going to let it tape for a while, and then when I feel that the ink has sort of settled, I'm going to torch again. And I see some resin sneaking out there. So I'm just going to take my crushed glass and just fill it. Just block it. I'm just going to push that in case it wants to still sneak out. And then I'm going to have some extra crystals when I'm go to the next step, because the resin didn't go all the way through all the section of it, so that's fine. Now, the amazing thing is I wasn't sure how much resin to mix, so I mixed 14 ounces. And I did this, and then as I said, I went ahead and poured the extra into this other old trinket tray, and it was exact. I was so shocked and pleased. So I'm going to put that aside as well to let it cure. I think I'm okay. Now I'm assuming these are bubbles and not yeah, they are. So, well, I guess I could do this. Just pop them. There's a little piece of goober there. I'll just leave it because it's going to be in the inside. No, I think I'm going to torch. Okay, so I will let this sit, not overnight, for a few hours until it's malleable. So it needs to be somewhat cured, but really nowhere close to being cured because I'm going to shape it. So we will continue to the next step for you in a moment. Okay, I'm back and my resin has dried a little bit. I'm going to sneak it over here from the right a little bit here. I've removed the window pane film off of my MDF board. I have gotten a Tupperware and a vase, and I've just taped the vase to the Tupperware just for more secure purposes. What I'm trying to do is create height here. And this is the first time I'm videotaping something like this, so please bear with me on the angle and etc. Over here, I've got my painter's tape ready because I'm going to tape down my sides of my window pane. So what you do is, and this is how I do it. There's probably other ways to do it, but this is how I do it. So here's my piece, remember that we poured earlier. So I'm just going to gently fold it over, and I'm using gloves because it's still not cured yet, so it's a little sticky. So I'm going to just play with it and create pleats. And I'm trying to, what I do is you try not to get the folds too bad. So I may not talk because I'm kind of concentrating. So what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to place some of this packing tape right here. Oops, I don't want to touch my crystal. And then while I'm doing that, I pull the opposite side, not this side, but the opposite side, because I'm trying to get a good base. And then I pull my tape in and secure it onto my bottom of my base here, and it's got to fold, okay? Then I go to the other side, and you just sort of let it naturally fold the way it wants to, because this is not a factory-made vase. It's a free-form resin vase. And then I'm pulling it tight and then putting my tape to hold it down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my board around so that I can do the other side. And I may not have it be balanced, meaning like one side the same equal height as the other. I may just play with it. And then you might have to adjust these as you go around. Now, if I can be really careful and not touch my resin, I think it's easier for me to use the tape without gloves. So I'm pushing, pulling, taping. So you sort of have to, it's like a seamstress making pleats. And the more you bend and fold, the more it creates. So I'm going to do this one because I kind of like the shape. This one may not have as many folds as I usually get in some of my vases because I'm using this very thick plastic window covering. If I use wrapping paper that's not holographic, iridescent, then it really creates a lot of folds. So then on this one, I'm going to pull it in And you sometimes have to, even though you've done this first one, you might have to adjust it some more. So I just pull it in tight. This one I kind of like the look of this one. Now I'm trying to see, okay, I need to adjust this one because I want to make a nice, let's see, where's my, and then there we go. That feels better because I'm creating like a flat base without having to touch it. And then I've got it, oh crap, touched a little bit of resin there. Got to watch every angle. And so you just sort of play around with it. And then it's up to you how many folds you want to create. Now, I usually actually prefer using the cellophane because it allows me to ply it more and create more folds. But this window pane has this cool holographicness that'll show up on the surface of the outside of the vase. So see how I'm just sort of keep turning it. And Julie has, as I mentioned in Pouring Your Heart Out, has a great video, several videos on this technique too. Okay, I'm just gonna fold it, and I might have my kind of fan out. So it's all a matter of preference of what sort of, oops, I wanna make sure I don't touch my resin there. To come in a bit, so I'm going to take this one out. That one didn't need it, and then I might fold it in a little bit here and pull. You just keep playing. So you can fast forward while I play with this and play with it to create what sort of pattern I may want of some folds, some not folds, and then you can go under and sort of, that's what I'm doing here. See if I'm going underneath here and pushing out. So you'll just have to experiment yourself if you plan on doing this. It's really fun. And like I said, I don't want this one to touch. Right there, I think I might create another fold here. The cellophane is much easier to fold than this window pane. Maybe I should have left that the way it is. See how it changes? It just changes constantly, so you just have to keep playing. So I'm going to stop the video right now and then show you at the end what I ended up with, because this is going to take some time. Okay? Come on. Oh, I was pushing the wrong button. Okay, so I've shaped it as best I can, and I put it in on a spinner to kind of show you around what the pleats look like. I can't, I'm sorry I can't go any further because my tripod's in the way, but I wanted to give you an idea of what that shaping looks like. And now we will just wait until it cures, and we will remove the plastic and hopefully have a nice, really looking vase. Hi, so it's time to remove the vase, and I videotaped this earlier, but I had my cord showing, so I'm sorry about that. But basically, you know, this was this way on the vase, and you just pull it off the vase. It's really easy because of this plastic. Then I pulled the plastic out and you can reuse this sheet for another project. Just make sure you've got the shiny side up. So there you go. Here is my free-form vase made especially for Stacy so she can try doing one as well. This is the back side, and here is the inside of it. And what I'm going to do is use my tweezers or my cutting tool and with my emery board smooth out these edges because they're a little bit rough right now and could cut somebody because it's really sharp. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that.